And it's a tough thing coming in at the end of the film. And look, I don't think it's a big spoiler, but her character doesn't come on screen until late in the film. That can be a tough time to introduce new characters.
Today I'm chatting with Mr. Tom George, director of See How They Run, fantastic new whodunit that's coming to digital. People can buy it November the 1st. That's exciting. Tom, how are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for being here. Man, what a great movie. What a fun movie. Did you grow up watching whodunits? I mean, I guess all of us kind of did, but were you a big fan maybe when you were young?
Yeah, I think, like you say, all of us, you can't really avoid them. And certainly here in the UK, I would say like every year there's a new big whodunit,
Sure.
And I like when I was growing up, Agatha Christie series were like really common. There was a famous Poirot series which ran for years here, which was definitely sort of my entry point. But I wouldn't say I was a huge fan before coming to this film. I think what appealed to me about it was the chance to do something that was a murder mystery, but also at the same time a character comedy, and to bring those two things together was felt like a exciting challenge.
Well, I was, when I first heard about the movie and was kind of looking up information about it, and saw that the script was by Mark Chappell. Did I say his name right? Chappell?
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, oh, this is going to be great, because I am a huge fan of Todd Margaret. That show is fantastic.
Right.
That is a great show. That is one of the most underrated shows. And I saw that he did that show and he wrote the script, and I was like, oh, this is exciting. He'll
be absolutely loving this. This is going to be his favorite interview, and he's not even on
it. You know what? I'm just here to make people happy. That's why I'm.
It's a brilliant show, and audiences over in the States may or may not know that he writes. Mark also writes a lot with Whodunit. The two of them write together. So yeah, I mean, we'd never worked together before this, but just knowing that he had written this script before I'd even read it was exciting for me too. Yeah,
I would imagine. This is your major motion picture directorial debut, correct?
Yeah, it's my first film, 100%.
And the movie's announced in what the highlight, the high point of the pandemic, pretty much. What was it like?
The low point,
the low point. You know what? You're absolutely right. I stand corrected. That is definitely the term we should use. What was it like, having this experience for the first time during those conditions?
It was a thing for sure. Okay. It was like, it was a really weird time to put a film together. No questions about it, let alone your first film, and a film with a big cast, large ensemble cast, people coming from all around the world to make it. There was a lot of uncertainty, and lots of times we were like, is this going to happen? Are we going to get, off and running? Just in a practical sense. But I think, it was, for all of us, we felt really lucky to be making it at that time as well. Of course, to be working full stop, but also to be making a film that kind of felt like something we all wanted to watch at that point in time, or at this point in time that we've lived through, something that was funny and joyful and had some play in it and a lightness of touch. That was, it kind of felt like a nice tonic, in the making of it. And I think that seems to be how audiences have responded to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it look, terrific film, terrific cast, Sam Rockwell, Saoirse Ronan, golly. But what really took me by surprise was how well Harris Dickinson's Richard Attenborough, I was like, this is amazing. Have you heard, have the Attenboroughs said anything? Have they responded or replied at all?
No, we haven't heard. You're still yet to hear from the Attenboroughs.
Just waiting on that call.
Yeah. No, it's great what Harris has done with that part, because I was quite clear when we first spoke about it, Harris and myself, that it didn't need to be a sort of biographical kind of performance, or it didn't need to be an unbelievably authentic version of Richard, because what we're getting here is a particular version of him. He's as the slightly self-obsessed actor who's always like watching people and figuring out what he can take for his next role and how he can improve his craft. And that was something that appealed to both me and Harris, the chance to lightly poke fun at actors. I know that that's something that Harris was really into. But what he's ended up, doing with it is really treading this amazing line where it really feels to me like a version of, like an accurate portrayal of Richard Attenborough, and at the same time, doesn't lose any of its sort of characterful elements to it that the film and the story call for. So yeah, he's done a brilliant job with it. And just the cast all the way down the cast list was it was one of those where I couldn't believe how the cast came together. And even as we got further down into the outside of obviously Saoirse and Sam, but as we went on getting these amazing people to come on board the project, it was something I had to try and not think about, to be honest, because it just would have been like totally paralyzing.
Well, I'll tell you this. I would watch an entire movie of Shirley Henderson as Agatha Christie. Like the way that she just becomes the movie in her short moments. Like I was like, this is amazing. And I would watch a whole series of her as Agatha.
And it's a tough thing coming in at the end of the film. And look, I don't think it's a big spoiler, but her character doesn't come on screen until late in the film. That can be a tough time to introduce new characters, and actually all of the characters who get introduced in that final chapter of the film do such a brilliant job of kind of owning their place, and as you say, kind of really taking on the sort of momentum of the film, both comically and dramatically in that finale. But yeah, I think that's true, of lots of the characters in the piece. There's lots of people in this big ensemble who, necessarily you see for 3 or 4 scenes, maybe, or 4 or 5 scenes, and hopefully they all feel like characters who you want more of. At the same time, it's a balancing act. You need to, and that was something we definitely found through scripting and then into the edit, is like you need to make sure that they're in balance with each other, so you don't feel like you're seeing, of course, Sam and Saoirse's characters are the lead. That's a slightly different thing, but in the ensemble, you want to feel like everyone's getting their moment, I suppose. And I think everyone does, and you end up with this just brilliant mix of great screen actors, big screen actors, and also some of my favorite British comedy actors coming together into this kind of big ensemble, which was very special.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, Tom. I can tell that you had an amazing time making it, and I had a great time watching it. I think lots of people do, and I'm excited that more people are going to be able to just have it right there in their own homes. November 1st, digital, rent or buy, and then we can all finally talk about it and hopefully not spoil too much more.
Yeah, I always think there should be a kind of statute of limitations on spoilers, right?
Sure.
It's like if I tell you the end of The Sixth Sense now, you can't do it.
Oh, that's a very good point.
It's done. You've had 20 years to watch it. It's over. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure what that time is, but yeah, like you, I'm excited for that time to be up so we can all chat about it. Yeah.
It's awesome. Hey, Tom, thank you very much for taking time to chat today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.